Alright, I'm doing a video debunking Charlie Kirk, and I'm not doing it just because he died. I'm doing it just because I found out, because it's going viral, because he's dead. And to me, he's a fucking idiot. I don't understand how no one has debunked some of his theories. So one of his theories is that black people don't deserve reparations because during the time of slavery, the black people alive now weren't alive then, and they didn't suffer the trauma. So before I get into how that is the most idiotic disposition ever, I'm gonna start with science, right? And I'm gonna prove that trauma can be passed on through DNA. Meaning, if I go through some real traumatic shit and I don't heal from it, I can pass it to my children using ChatGPT. Hey Chat, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Isn't there scientific data that trauma can be passed on genetically? If I'm not mistaken, isn't it called post-traumatic? Post-traumatic. Or no, anyway, can trauma be passed on through DNA?
Yeah, you're on the right track. The concept is often referred to as transgenerational trauma or epigenetic inheritance. There's research suggesting that traumatic experiences can affect gene expression and potentially be passed down to subsequent generations. It's a really fascinating area of study.
Thank you, baby. Hold that thought. I need to get a glass of water. I ain't bullshitting. Hold on. I need a water. Be right back. So, ChatGPT just proved that trauma can be passed on through DNA, right? If not dealt with. So that's number one. So, even though slavery happened years ago, because just the premise that there was never reparations given proves that there was never. It's in the etymology of the word repair. There was never repair done to that community, so they never was healed. Thus, that trauma continued to be passed on, and you can look at it in the culture and the music that we see today. One second. But let's just deal with other cultures getting reparations, right? Because that was the next thing he tried to throw, like, well, what the Jews get the reparations. So we're going to deal with that through ChatGPT. So it's not just speculation to me. And then I'm going to fast forward it to when the Jews got their reparations, because I did my homework. So, but I'm just going to prove to y'all through ChatGPT that I'm not just talking. In correlation with COINTELPRO, crack being put in our community. So the same time that they got their reparations, crack was put in our community. And from that point on, we was never given reparations. So we don't even have to go back to slavery. But that's, again, another conversation. Hold on. Hey, ChatGPT, can you go back and give the information on the Jewish community receiving reparations and give a timestamp on when there was a specific event or event in history where they received reparations? Hold on, chat fucking up. Hey chat, can you give the information on when the Jewish community got reparations and give a timestamp on the specific date that they got it?
The German government began making reparations payments to Holocaust survivors in the 1950s. The reparations agreement between Israel and the Federal Republic of Germany was signed on September 10th, 1952, and so the key date for the reparations agreement was September 10th, 1952, when the agreement was signed. This is a significant milestone in the process of addressing the injustices suffered by the Jewish community during the Holocaust. If you need more details, you're welcome. If you have any other questions or need more info for your video, just let me know. I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Oh, back on.
You're very welcome.
Hey, chat. Did Give the information on when the Japanese got their reparation for the concentration camps, please.
In 1988, the US government officially acknowledged the wrongful internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act, which provided a formal apology and $20,000 in reparations to each surviving internee. This was a significant step in recognizing and addressing the injustices they faced.
And didn't the Native American Indians also receive reparations?
Yes, the US government has taken steps to compensate Native American tribes for historical injustices. For instance, in 1946...
All right, hold on 1 second. Because we're running short on time for this video. During the time of this reparation of the Native Americans, wasn't there also a controversial like loophole in the law where they had like what was called a $5 Indian, where Caucasian white people were claiming Native American and indigenous heritage in order to receive the benefits of reparations as well?
Yes, that's correct. During the period when Native Americans are receiving reparations and benefits, there was indeed a loophole. Some non-native individuals, known as $5 Indians, could essentially bribe officials to be included on the doors rolls, which were the official lists of tribal members. This allowed them to receive benefits meant for actual Native Americans, which caused quite a bit of controversy.
Didn't the author Gary Webb publish about how the United States government was help funding the war through looking the other way or putting crack cocaine in predominantly black and urban communities?
Yes, that's correct. Gary Webb published a series called Dark Alliance in 1996, where he investigated how a drug ring in San Francisco sold cocaine to Los Angeles street gangs, and the profits were allegedly funneled to the CIA-backed Nicaraguan Contras. This series suggested that this contributed to the crack cocaine epidemic in predominantly black urban communities.
Was there ever any reparations or anything done to repair the damages and traumas of that said community that the government put in front and benefited off the crack? I'm ready for the answer.
Absolutely. If you need any more details,
repeat the answer. Repeat the answer. I didn't hear it. Anyway, we know the answer. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Maybe I asked too many smart questions and she started malfunctioning. But yeah, we know the answer. It was never no reparations done. So we don't even have to go back to slavery, because we just understood through the scientific information that's out there that trauma can be passed on through generations in DNA. So if crack via the government was put in our community to what Charlie Kirk is always saying, take the father out of the community, and there was never any reparations done to that community, isn't it suffice to say and common sense to say that that community would be owed reparations just off that alone? Which can be implied for slavery as well, right? Which was the point I was going to make, and that's what I'm saying. I don't even understand how this idiot has gotten to a platform to debate colleges and seem like he's smart. But just the crack alone with the COINTELPRO, like how was reparations, how was a legislation not put in place for reparations in which crack was put in our community and the government looked the other way so that they can fund their war? Because they didn't put it in predominantly white communities. It wasn't meth, it wasn't cocaine, it was crack. So Charlie Kirk is an idiot. So, any of his followers want to respond, you're more than welcome. And we can have a debate since he's no longer here.